Hello, everybody.
Hi everyone, Wendy and Les here.
So today we are doing something really special thanks to a couple of very nice people, and we are living large out here on the Kennebecasis River. Wendy's going to introduce you to our hosts here.
Yes, so this is Paul and this is Gail. We met them curling. We've talked about that we curled in the wintertime, and we met Gail and Paul curling, and they invited us out on their boat, well, a few times this summer, but this is the first time that we've ever been able to get out on the boat. So we are absolutely in our glory here. So thank you so much for inviting us.
Yeah, so I'm not going to stay on this wheel for very long because I've never sailed before in my life.
You're doing great.
I saw the island over to our left approaching quickly, and just during that introduction. But this is something we really wanted to show people because this is a part of the St. John lifestyle that many people really take great advantage of. And it is one thing that you really can't get anywhere else. So I'm going to hand the wheel back to Paul, and then we're going to just take a quick view out the sides, and we're going to ask Gail and Paul a few questions, and just show you what this beautiful river is all about.
I'm gonna just pan around here. So.
Oops, sorry.
All right, back in safe hands.
So, Gail, you're the main sailor of the family, right?
Right.
So, what kind of boat is this? What is it exactly?
It's a Catalina 320, and that's a 32 and a half foot boat.
32 and a half.
Yeah, and it was made in 1997, and Catalina still makes boats. They're an American manufacturer that are still very active.
And how long have you owned this boat?
11 years, I think.
11 years.
And it is my forever boat.
Your forever boat.
Some people are always shopping for another better boat, but for me, this is.
And how long have you been sailing?
So I started sailing as a kid a little bit when my parents got a boat, but they were happy to leave the 4 kids at home while they took off and hung out with their friends on the water. So I didn't sail that much, but I got an appreciation for how fun it is to be on the water. So I don't know that I got any skills from it, but I got this is fun.
Yeah.
And we all know that the St. John River system is very long. Do you know how long it is?
I don't. Somebody said something about 700 nautical miles of navigable water, but I don't know what that means. But I could go when the water's high, which it is right now. We could go 10 hours up this river, so that's a 2 or 3 day trip, and that's just the Kennebecasis River. And within the Kennebecasis River, there's all kinds of little bays and islands and different places you could go around. So you could spend a few weeks here and be in a different anchorage every night. And then we go out. This is just a tributary that's several miles wide, that's 80 meters deep. And then the St. John River itself, it splits off into all kinds of different pieces again. And we've gone to Fredericton and Chipman, and you could spend months there being in different anchorages.
And you're a lifetime St. Johner, is that correct?
Yes, I've lived away for more than a decade or two, but yeah, I'm born here, back here, happy to be here.
Is there any other place that you could imagine sailing that would be nicer than this?
No, I mean, there's places in the Caribbean where it might be more, it might be really beautiful and you can sail year round, but there's a lot more expense and complexity to it as well, right? Because of enough places for everybody with their boat and lots of fabulously wealthy people. Whereas here, you can do this very cheaply. I know people who, buy a boat for less than $1,000 and spend $1,000 a year running their boat, kind of thing.
Okay, so it can be done. It can be affordable for the everyday person. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. And a good summer, I would sleep on this boat 50 nights. And it doesn't cost very much to do that.
So you have sleeping berths on here, right? How many people could sleep on this boat?
It sleeps 7.
7 people.
Woo woo.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And you just, how do you drop an anchor? Do you?
A lot of times I drop an anchor, but there's a lot of coves where there's moorings, and we really just help ourselves to other people's moorings.
Oh,
And you look at, oh, the top of this mooring looks good, so I think the bottom is probably good too.
okay.
But yeah, that's really how you do it.
And Paul,
Yes.
we have heard through the grapevine that sailing isn't your favorite thing, but you seem to look like a complete natural at it.
I enjoy the sailing, and I like the social aspect of it, especially. But some of the trips we take up river, like Gail was explaining, there's so many places to go that the trips can be long that we take, and I sometimes want to be back home doing stuff. But
So what's the longest you've ever been on the river, on the water?
10 nights.
10 nights.
Yes.
That could be long.
Yeah.
And do you have all the facilities you need on the boat?
Yeah. We on this boat, it has a fridge, and we have a head, and I'm tall. I'm 6 feet 3 inches, so the bed is long enough for me, and all that. And then there's a few places upriver that you can go to buy groceries. Like you can tie up to a wharf and go into town and buy groceries and buy gas if you need gas, and those type of things. So
Well,
And there's vineyards and cider places and a beautiful butcher and all of that as well, right?
and so because this is St. John and this is New Brunswick, and things are a little bit casual here. We've mentioned before that people here don't have the same stick up their butts that they have in some parts of the country. So we're relaxing here out on the open water, having a couple of beverages and just enjoying ourselves and being responsible, but having fun and being loose. And I got to tell you, this is my second time on a sailboat. Wendy's first. My first time was a very unfortunate experience when my brother had bought a sailboat for a short amount of time. But this is just tremendous. And, you know, we have met people from St. John that talk about, you got to get out on the river. You got to get out on the river. And this is our first opportunity to actually do so.
We're so grateful.
And the scenery around us is absolutely spectacular, and it's on all sides of us.
Yes.
We left from St. John. Now we're I think going past Quispamsis.
We're not that far yet. This is Drury Cove.
Oh, okay.
That's here. And on our nose is Renforth and Kennebecasis Park and Hastings Cove are coming up.
So that would be so we're still
That's
in
the start
St.
of
John,
Rosse. Yeah, we're still in Rosse.
and we're heading
in St.
towards
John.
Rosse.
And
Right
heading
now.
towards Rosse. Yeah.
And this is the same river you'll see people ice fishing on in the wintertime.
Yeah.
How long does this river stay frozen?
Well, parts of it are hard frozen and through February, depending where you are on it, and people are still out on it in March sometimes. But it depends on the winter, and it depends on what you're doing with it. You know, how big a truck you've got.
Yeah,
And how dear the truck is to you.
Yes,
that's
I always
that's
think of
scary.
that every time I see people out on the ice. I'm like, oh, it's a gamble.
Yeah.
We're coming right up to a section where it is a winter highway. So this is officially part of the highway system of New Brunswick. And the DOT a few years ago blasted a little section of the end of this island so that it was easy to get from one side of the river onto the island and then across into St. John. And legally it is still a highway.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we've seen the ferry that runs back and forth, and we have heard, I've not witnessed it, but they carve out the ice for the ferry so it can run year round. But we've seen or heard of people that actually just don't want to wait and they drive across the ice to the other side.
Yeah, and on this island there is no ferry service. And so if you've got a cottage and you need to do some construction, you need to move a new refrigerator there or something, you're probably going to do that in the winter. and put it on a truck and drive
Oh,
across.
that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. So
Huh.
that's part of even islands that do have ferry service. In the winter, they would use that to bring a load of lumber or whatever.
Terrific. So behind us, we're still around Drury Cove. Is that right?
That's Drury Cove there. Yeah.
We know a few people in Drury Cove, so big wave.
And then on this side,
This is Kingston Peninsula, and this is kind of Barlow's Bluff that we're here. So just around the other side, you're into Somerville and Chapel Grove.
and those are very popular cottage areas.
Yes, very much cottage. I mean, there are a lot of fully winterized homes there, people who live there year round as well. They just had a beautiful arts festival in there this past weekend.
Oh, and right over there, somebody on a bit of a speedboat. Are there any restrictions to what kind of boats can go on this river?
I don't think so.
No.
No.
So again, this is we're still in St. John. This is the city that Wendy and I have fallen in love with, and we always talk about the ocean because we're ocean people, and that's why with the more people that we have met that grew up here, they say you got to get on the river. So now we've been on the river, and I will admit it's absolutely and truly spectacular.
It is. I do have a question for Gail, real quick. So Gail, we were talking before we started our journey on the river here, how you said that it's a lot of work to actually maintain your boat and to get it winterized and then open it up for the spring and everything else. And it takes a certain person that has a lot of passion for sailing. Tell me what your most favorite parts are. What's the draw?
I mean, I've raced every week with the same race crew for 15 years, and it's just so wonderful to have one night a week where you get together and you have fun and you see everybody. So that's a big draw. But also, there's places here where we anchor in creeks, and I would tie the front of my boat to a tree and have a little anchor off the stern, and you wake up in the morning and there's the blue herons and the bald eagles and kingfishers and all of that are there. Big loon families putting on a big show for you, and you get to find out that blue herons are like the mafia of the bird world.
Oh,
Like a bald eagle takes fish out of that blue heron's territory, and it's not going to make it out.
really?
No.
Oh my gosh, I had no idea.
Yeah.
No.
So it's really beautiful, and it's really I'm not a birder, but I can just sit and watch that for so long, right?
The one thing I've noticed being on a sailboat is just how quiet it is compared to being on a motorboat of any sort. And when we left the marina, we were on the motor, which is a diesel engine, correct?
Yeah.
And then as soon as we got out and there was enough wind, they raised the sail and the motor cut off, and it's just like incredible peacefulness everywhere. All you hear is this gentle lapping of the water right outside. We could reach down and pretty much touch it. And
She did invite us to go swimming later.
yeah,
And the water in the river is so much warmer than the water in the ocean.
yes,
I bet, yeah.
Plus, it's fresh water.
it's fresh water.
Yeah.
So we are incredibly grateful and to Gail and Paul for inviting us out here.
Yes, thank you so much. Cheers.
As with many of we talk about how friendly everyone is here. We've had a chance over the last year or so to meet several people who were born and raised in St. John. The pride that they show in their city and the love that they have for the city and this whole area and this river is just it's inspiring to us, and we're so happy to have been asked out here and to share it a little bit with all of our viewers.
Thank you so much.
So
Another reason why we love St. John.